Channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I create my YouTube videos. So I get this question a lot, especially from people who are interested in starting a YouTube channel, or they're maybe interested in taking their YouTube channel to the next level. And they ask me all of the equipment that I use, how I set stuff up. So I thought that I would first explain kind of my process, and then I'll talk about how I shoot different angles, and then I'll talk about the specific equipment that I use so that if you want to pick them up, you can try those specific things. So there are kind of three different types of videos that I shoot. The first is this type of video where I'm just kind of sitting here and I'm chatting with you on my couch. The second is my recipe videos. So those are shot with like overhead angles and it's really just the food. And then I do the intros and outros in my kitchen. And then I also shoot my what I eat in a day videos. So all three of those things are kind of a different process for me. This one I will say is probably the easiest because it's just me sitting in front of my camera and chatting with you guys. And then the recipe ones are probably the most complicated because it often involves multiple different angles. It involves like obviously cooking food, and then I'm also putting together the intros and outros, which are usually filmed on separate days. So that one tends to be a little bit more complicated. In terms of setup, I try my best to use natural light. My apartment doesn't have direct sunlight, so that is a good and a bad thing. I luckily have two big windows, which I shoot my food all over here on my desk. So you can probably see a peek of my desk right there. That is where I shoot all of the recipe videos. I have a surface that I'll show you in a second that sits on top of that desk, and I have all of my food stuff there. The sitting ones in my living room are obviously just right here. And then my kitchen over there, I shoot the intros and outros for my food videos. So I do use artificial light for my seating videos, so when I'm sitting here, and also my intro and outro videos, but I don't usually use artificial light with the food itself. A few things to keep in mind as we're working through this video. There are really like 2 to 3 important aspects of videos. So the first is audio. You really want to make sure that you have a high quality audio because oftentimes maybe people are watching on their mobile device and the quality of the video doesn't matter quite as much, but if they can't hear or the audio is fuzzy or something like that, it's going to lose them. The other aspect is lighting. And if you're doing food, lighting is so important. I can't stress that enough. So you've got to kind of play around until you find a lighting that works for you. For me, I have been doing this for like 8 years, so I have figured out a lighting solution that works for me. I have to say I'm not thrilled with my lighting setup for like these types of videos, but you know, it works. And then the third thing that you want to think about is video quality. So I have nice cameras, but you don't have to start with the highest quality of camera. You can definitely shoot things on your iPhone or your smartphone, but you just want to make sure that you have those other two in place first. So let's talk about the equipment that I use. I'm going to show you my different setups for my different types of videos, and I'm going to talk here first about the exact equipment that I have, and then I'll show you the different setups. So for my food videos, I shoot with 2 different cameras. I have an overhead camera and I have a side angle camera. So the overhead camera that I have right here. It is a 5D Mark IV. And this is a really amazing high-end camera. It's definitely not the range that you have to start with if you are a beginner. I don't recommend this camera because it is expensive and it has probably more functionality than you really need in this beginning. I invested in this camera because of a few different things, which I'll explain when we talk about how I shoot my food videos. But this is the camera that I use for all of my overhead stuff. The side angle videos, I actually use the camera that I'm using right here, and it's a Canon 6D. So it's the angle of me sitting, it's the angle of me in my kitchen, and it's all of those side close-up angles. In terms of lenses, my overhead lens that I use is on this right here. This is my 5D Mark IV, and the lens that I use is a 40mm Canon lens. They call this the pancake lens. What I really like about this lens is that it's inexpensive. It takes great photos. It doesn't have like too much of a wide angle so that things don't really drop off, which you can get with some other shorter angle lenses. And this is just I think it's a great lens, and it's what I do all of my overhead shots with. My close-up shots are done with my 100mm macro lens. This is the lens that I do almost all of my food photography with, as well as all of those close-in tight shots with my food videos. This lens is amazing. I am obsessed with this lens. I've had it for 3 years now. It is absolutely amazing. It takes incredible photos. Video-wise, it's for all of the close-ups. And then for my lens that I use for when I sit down or when I'm doing my shots in the kitchen, I use my 50mm lens. This is a lens that was one of the first lenses that I ever bought. It's really inexpensive. I think it's like $100. It's a great starter lens. It's not the highest quality, so I almost never use it for food photography, but it's really great for this angle, and it has like a great distance-wise. And then for vlogging, so for my What I Eat in a Day videos, I use the Canon G7X. And this was one of the highest rated quote-unquote vlogging cameras, and it has not steered me wrong. I think the quality is amazing. I think that the sound is pretty good. What I really love about it, if you're into vlogging, is that it has this little screen. So what you can do is you can be like talking to the camera, and you can actually see yourself in this lens. So you can kind of see what you're getting in the frame. You can like adjust things if you don't like how you look. You can adjust the exposure, and you can adjust the focus. So this is a really, really, really awesome camera. It's a little bit on the expensive side. If vlogging is your like main thing and that is what you want to focus your channel on, I definitely recommend that you think about investing in a little camera like this. This is the Canon G7X. It's an awesome little camera. I personally really, really love it. And I take this with me when I travel, so all of my kind of travel shots are done with this. Or sometimes I even just use my iPhone for those videos. But I almost never use my, I never use my big cameras for my What I Eat in a Day videos. It's always this one. In terms of audio, the mic that I use is a Rode mic. It is attached to my camera, and I'll show it to you in a few different setups so that you can see what it looks like. But it is attached to my camera over there, and it's directed right at me, and it captures the sound into my camera, and then I can edit it. And then the final little kind of trinket thing that I have that's really helpful, because I shoot all of my videos on my own, is this little remote control shutter clicker thing. I don't know what they're called, but essentially I can control the shutter on my camera, so I can start it and stop it. It's really great for taking photos. I can also just like stop recording and start recording without having to go up and get in focus and things like that. So this is really great. I think they're like $15, $20, and it's a really great investment. So now I'm gonna take a break, and I'm gonna show you with my vlogging camera how I set up all of my different things. So I'll show you this setup, I'll show you my kitchen setup, and I'll show you my food setup, and then we'll come back here and we can kind of close out the video. Okay, so this is the setup from my couch. So I have 3 lights. These are the same lights that I use in my kitchen. I have one that is connected to my bookshelf right there. I have one that's mounted on my camera, and then I have one right there that's kind of pointed to fill in some of the shadows. I also have my mic, which is connected to the tripod right there, and that is pointed directly at where I'm sitting so that it can capture the best audio. So now I'll show you the back of the setup so you can see what that looks like. All right, so now we have the back of my setup. So I sit in this little corner right here, and here is one of my lights right here. And then, like I said, I have a light on top of my camera right here. And then I also have my mic right here. So this is the Rode mic, and it just connects to the little port on the side of the camera. And then here's what it looks like from my camera. So my camera's gonna die, but that is kind of the view that you see. And then my other light is right here, and it is connected to my bookshelf. So it's kind of pointed like up, and it's gonna be bouncing off of the ceiling and kind of filling in some of the light in here so there aren't huge drastic shadows. But that kind of gives you the sense of like how I set up my lighting here. So I have 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is the back of my kitchen setup. I usually stand right in front of the camera, so like that, right there in my kitchen. And I have a light here. So I got this just at Home Depot, and it's just like an ultra, I don't know what kind of light, blue light thing there. So this is just one of those can lights. It clips onto this chair here. I have my microphone connected to my camera. I swear you guys, this is such a janky setup. So I have my microphone, it wraps around this and it connects here because I also have a light on top of this. So I have two light sources back here, and then I'm gonna take you around the kitchen and show you what it looks like from the front and show you my other light source. So this is what you would see if you were standing in my filming position. You can see that I have a light right here. It's hard when all right, there we go. So I have a light right there on top of the camera. The microphone is pointed at me, and then I have this light that's kind of directed upwards, and that kind of bounces off the ceiling a little bit and provides more light this way. And then I also have a light here, which is the same thing that I have clipped on the back, and it's just one of those can lights that you clip on, and it has the same bulb, and it's kind of just here to like brighten up the background a little bit. So this is the setup that I always use for my kitchen, and it's how I get those intro and outro shots. All right, so I'm gonna show you my setup, and I have two windows here. So this is actually an entire bay window, and I don't actually need to keep it open all the way, but open window here, open window there. I don't tend to diffuse light unless it is a sunny day. And then I have two cameras set up. So my first camera, which is my overhead, is with a small short lens. So this is a 40mm lens, and it's looking down on my subject. So like this, and then you can see it on my camera. But I got this camera because for two reasons. So first is that it shoots in 4K, and second is that it has tracking autofocus. So my other camera, which I'll show you in a second, does not have tracking autofocus. So it was kind of taking me a long time to like refocus everything in between shots. And this is on a tripod. So it's on a Manfrotto tripod, and it has this arm, and it kind of sticks out so that I can get an overhead shot. My other tripod does not have that. So of course I'll be linking everything below so you can check out the exact things that I have. And then for my side angle shot, I have a Canon 6D, and this is the camera that I've used for the last like 2 or 3 years on my channel. So it's definitely something that you can use, no problem at all. I just find that it's a lot more time effective, and like it takes me less time to shoot videos to have two cameras set up. Because I used to shoot with one camera here, and then I'd take it off, I'd put it on a tripod, do the side angle, put it back over here. So it just was taking a lot of time. So this is the angle that I am doing for my close-ups with my Canon 6D, and I have an 100mm macro lens on here. And yeah, so this is my side angle. And then my tripod that I have here is, I don't even actually know the brand, but of course I will link it for you. So then the other thing that I do in terms of lighting is that I have a bounce board here. So this is just a foam board, and I keep this here to bounce the light back onto my subject. And then background wise, so this is a board that I bought that has a dark surface on the bottom, and I'm sure you guys can tell from my channel that I don't really shoot on dark surfaces anymore. I used to like experiment with it a little bit a couple years ago, and I don't do that anymore. So what I did is I bought some marble contact paper. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. It comes in a roll, and you basically can just peel it off, and that's exactly what I did. So I peeled off 2 sheets. You can see there's a line. Can you see that line right there? So there's 2 sheets, and I just laid it over this wooden board, and it works perfectly. So, I mean, you can tell it's not real marble, but on camera, I don't really think that it can tell. I don't really think you can tell that, obviously. The other thing that you can do is you could just put this onto a foam board. So you could just buy the contact paper. It's like $7 on Amazon, and you could just stick it onto like a $2 foam board. So that is really easy. I just thought that you would find it interesting, and let's switch back to me sitting on the couch. All right, my friends, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions for me at all, leave them in the comments below. I don't know if I answered all of the questions, but hopefully this kind of gives you a sense of how I light my videos, how I film my videos. I don't want to really talk about editing in this video because that I feel like is a whole nother beast. And I'm trying to think of any other questions that you might have. I hope I covered most of them. If you do have any other questions, like I said, you can leave them in the comment box below, and I will either try to film another video if I get more than I covered here, or I'll just try to answer you individually in the comments below. I, of course, have linked every single one of the products that I use in the description box for you. So if you want to check out individual lenses, cameras, mics, clickers, whatever, tripods, everything. I've linked that for you below. And I'll also link some of the equipment that I used to use that is a little bit on the cheaper side, so that if you are just getting started and you don't want to invest in like my larger setup that I have here, you can look at like a cheaper alternative. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of you who are asking questions. If you're interested in the business side of things, like about how I started my business and everything like that, I have filmed a separate video on that. So that is already up on my channel. I will link that for you in the description box below as well. And that answers a lot of questions about like how I got started, how I make money, everything like that. So this is more technical focused, but I hope it's helpful for some of you at least. And I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't joined our community yet. And I guess that's all I have for you. So I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys!